Hey, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live. I'm so excited to show you something that I believe will completely change the way you guys homeschool. And I am going live right now because why? My house is quiet and I can be able to get through this and talk to people or answer questions for anyone who's on live where I'm streaming and have a discussion about this planner. I am super excited to share with you guys exactly what's in the planner and how to use it so that you don't have to feel overwhelmed with homeschooling. And so, if you ever felt overwhelmed before, trying to figure out what to teach, how to keep track of attendance, or just to stay consistent without burning out, you're not alone. And so that's why I created the Ultimate Homeschool Planner. So I'm going to walk you guys through every section of this planner um, and show you exactly how you can use it to simplify your homeschool life. By the end of this live stream, you'll be able to picture how your homeschool days will look and feel with this tool in your hands. Now, you can get it right from our website. It is in the description. It is a PDF, so you can download it. You can print multiple pages or all of the pages that you may need. Um, for your content or for your scheduling and all of the things. And so I also have it simplified because each state may require something different, but these are the main factors that all families would need if you're registered with your state as homeschooling, and just in case you need to keep track of any of the documentation. So without further ado, let's get into it. Um, Of course, I put in my welcome letter to everyone to let you guys know that I have a background. Uh, been doing this education thing for the last 20 years or so, just about now. It's so crazy to even say that out loud, right? However, Reading for Smiles is 15 years old this year, but I always worked in the school system um, and worked with children during after school, day school, and all of the things. And so my insight is also coming in from what does the child need to know, um, and what you can teach or need to teach and how to teach certain things as well, right? Just based on age, grade, and ability and so forth, and how to revisit things. So if you actually go to my shorts, I always have tips or different activities that you can do with the children, because I'm big on if you're enjoying it, then they're enjoying it. All right. So first, this thing helps you map out your academic year, track what your child is learning, stay organized for your own peace of mind, and state documentation. Reflect, adjust, and grow as you guys go. Um, I have the homeschool vision page. I love this section because it helps you write down what you want your days to feel like, not just what subjects you're teaching. Maybe you want more peace, more flexibility, or more creativity. Whatever your vision is, that will be your anchor for the year. And it's so funny because in a Facebook group today, a mom was feeling, a little burnt out or whatever. And I'm like, go back to your why, right? Always go back to your why. I'm also a goal coach. So I always use that, my insight and information from training and things of that nature into it too. Um, as an academic coach and stuff of like that too, I'm always setting goals. So I have goals for adults, goals for children, goals for everything. And I think that at the heart of those goals is always going to be the why. And so it's important to know that. And then that keeps you grounded in what you're doing it for, so that when you are feeling, a little stress, because I've been there as well. It's like, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this because I want to put my child in a different position. I'm doing this because I want my child to be safe. I'm doing this because I want control over what my child is exposed to or not exposed to, and all of the things, right? And so people have a million different reasons why they're choosing to homeschool, and it's your right. And so, with that being said, yes, it doesn't mean just because you want to homeschool, it's going to be easy. Not at all. But it doesn't have to be overwhelming if we can get everything organized and if we can focus and stay true to our why. So, anyway, I want to go on a rant. So here's my table of contents. I give you the welcome, a personal information, a password saver, homeschool checklist for beginners, homeschool compliance, calendars, visioning goals, weekly and daily schedule template, lesson planning and assignment trackers, attendance trackers, subject specific trackers, extracurricular trackers, progress and grading charts, home charts, and some project and activity ideas. You guys, this thing is loaded. And it's loaded because I was like, well, what if someone needs this? And what if someone needs that? What if they could use this? Oh, let me put in ideas because I'm always creating activities. That's the youth inside of me. And so I like things to be hands on for the children. They get a lot of joy out of it, and it makes connections for them that run real deep. And so when we want to, listen, at the end of the day, just in case you can't figure out an idea, I got a list, point blank, period. Sometimes you don't want to have to do all the heavy lifting. You just want something that's there. So I get it. Let's get back into this. So here's where you can put your personal information, your password savers and trackers. Say, it's somebody else that's working with your child and they need to be able to get on to their websites if they're doing online learning, or um, you have a teacher coming in or something like that. I've seen there's so many different ways people are homeschooling right now. So this is a good way to keep track of that, right? Tips for using my planner is definitely to stay consistent. Set aside time each week to plan your lessons, reflect on progress, and you can update your trackers. Be flexible. Life happens and plans may need to shift. Use the notes and reflection sections to adjust as needed. I'm huge on saying involve your child and let them participate in setting the goals, tracking the progress, and choosing activities to keep them engaged and motivated. I actually let my son help set the schedule for what would be focused on, and I have cards, schedule cards that are also on the website too. That could be downloaded for like $1.99 or $2.99, and you can just set up your wall and let them create their schedule with you, right? And then also celebrate the wins. Use the progress reports to celebrate small victories along the way because learning is a journey. And so here is the homeschool list checklist for beginners. This thing looks massive, but it's not. And you can, when you purchase it, you can literally go through all of it. But the first thing I'm going to tell everybody is to always research the homeschooling laws in your state. If you notice now, we have so many things happening across the country, and it's now a lot of spotlight on people homeschooling. And I guess that's because so many people are transitioning to homeschool. And so some states are turning things around. Like New Jersey is one of those states. Pennsylvania is thinking about revisiting some of their laws and stuff too. So if you live in those two states or anywhere else in America, please go ahead, by all means, learn the rules within your state. Then choose your homeschool approach. Decide on your homeschooling method. If you're doing traditional, unschooling, Charlotte Mason, Montessori, classical, whatever you decide, just make that choice. Something that's going to fit your family's philosophy and your own rhythm of your house. Then create a homeschool plan. You could set your long-term goals, short-term goals, core subjects to make sure you cover, of course, the math, science, ELA, social studies. I would also add in the electives such as art, music, and foreign language, if you can. Um, again, setting up some schedules and routines. So that is going to look different for everybody. My day was starting at 6 a.m. and then life happens. My husband's schedule changed, so I had to readjust. And now we're more so 11, 12 o'clock ish with our start on certain things and depending on the day. And it works. And sometimes I just teach on the weekends as well. So again, create the plan that works for your family. It does not have to look like the school day, right? That's not what this is about. Gather your curriculum materials. So, purchase or download whatever you are using, whether it's the workbooks, textbooks, digital courses, anything that needs supplies. We also have on-demand classes. And so for the kids that sign up to take those, we have where you can look at the supply list that's needed for that course. Because again, I like to do hands-on things. And so all of our courses have hands-on activities to go with the lesson. Then create a system for record keeping. This is huge. Use the planner for all types of logs, track lesson plans, attendance, assignments, and grades, proof of reading, proof of extracurricular activities, proof of volunteering. I'm originally from New York City, so for us, a lot of our high schoolers have to do volunteer hours in different places. It actually kind of starts at the middle school level, but more high schoolers do it before they can graduate, right? And so even tracking that, where is your child's volunteering, how many hours they did, what is the experience that they're gaining from this place? And so even if you're not in New York City, this is also good to have on record because it helps you as a family keep on track. But when it comes to, higher ed, you also now have this information front and center. You can say these are the things that my child's work on and so forth. And so that looks good. And when they start ready to build their resumes and stuff too. So it's just all good insight and information. Establish a support system, right? So join Facebook groups. I'm actually going to start my own group probably this week or next week. And network with other moms to talk about either materials, activities, or just to have coffee. Listen, it's real. Plan for socialization and extracurricular activities. That is huge because so many people who are homeschooling, or rather not those who are homeschooling, those who are watching you homeschool, always want to bring up, hey, but what about socializing? They're going to be weird because they're not with other kids. That's so untrue. That's so untrue. First of all, don't lock anybody into a box. There's more than one way to learn. There's more than one way to be, right? And so you have libraries who do different reading workshops or STEM programs. You have all of the different sports clubs, all of the things. So just find those in your own community and don't be afraid of online community. I had a student who was perfectly fine with being online. She hated to go out to what we would say, quote unquote, normal settings and stuff. And she was like, she likes to chill and do her own thing. And so, you got to respect that too when they are of a certain age and that's what they are calling for. Anyway, then set your goals for yourself as the teacher. Yes. Learn about different homeschooling techniques, teaching techniques, books that's good, blogs, watch videos. You can definitely follow me for some homeschooling strategies, or rather just teaching strategies, period. Because like I said, I like to do things differently. I like things to be hands-on. I like the kids to have fun. And so I'm always different thinking of things in that nature. as well as I like to teach topics that's not taught in traditional school as well. Um, Plan for assessments if your state requires it. Again, in this domain, every state is doing something different. So please research your state. They may still have to come in and do some assessments. Oh, and I'll also say too, for the extracurricular activities, um, depending on where you live, your school district may still allow the child to come in and do the electives like a art or a music class and stuff like that. You have to ask though. You have to ask because, like I said, every place is so different. Um, then plan for the end of the school year. So reflect on the year with you and your child or children. What went well, what didn't, if you like the curriculum and you or not, and you want to switch or you want to um, get rid of something, by all means, that's the best time to think it through and to do demos online with other programs and see what they're offering or create your own, right? If you don't see it, create it. Um, and give yourself that wiggle room. So by reflecting on it, you can definitely say this is what we want or this is what we needed and this didn't serve us at all. So it's always good to have those options. All right. Now for the compliance part, because I said a lot. So here you can see you can put your child's name, the grade level, homeschool start date, the end date for your year, um, essential supplies, stuff like that. Because, like I said, depending on your child's age and grade level, depends on what supplies you have. But the basic stuff is your pencils, crayons, markers, rulers, protractor, poster board, drawing paper, lines, notebook paper, loose leaf, a binder or two. Just certain things. Um, for this to stay in compliance though, like here in New York, we have a social studies compliant. They must learn about the state of New York. They must learn about um, uh, the state of New York. They also must learn something with health and being protected from drugs and stuff like that. That is a part of it too. And you have time. It'll tell you exactly when and what year it needs to be taught and covered. And so, again, if you're in a different state, just see if that's a requirement for yours or not. It might not be. Like New York is different. New York requires a lot. Um, and you just want to stay in compliant. And even if your state doesn't ask for it now and you do it, I would definitely still keep track of it because, like I said, each state, as more people are transitioning to homeschool, they are coming up with new rules, right? And so, yeah, super important. And so here I give you the United States history. Topic and unit is American Revolution. You put the completion date. Any comments in there, you can add it in. Then for the year overview, you can say what you're going to teach by each month here. And then I threw in these other little calendars to space and plan things out. So I'm just going to click through these. Here is my favorite part, the homeschool vision goals, right? So some examples for ELA. In kindergarten, they're able to recognize the letters and the sounds, and in writing, draw and label simple stories. First grade, read short sentences fluently. Writing goal, write 2 to 3 sentence stories. Second grade, use reading strategies. And then for the writing, they should be able to write a short paragraph with structure. And so if you buy the planner, like I said, you'll have these examples in there, and then you can follow out with your own plan. But this is just to give you a visual and an idea of how to create those vision goals and to make sure that your child is staying on board with what's necessary by grade level. An infection, excuse me, executive functioning toolkit here. You could talk about whatever your morning routine is, start learning by, take scheduled breaks, wrap up routine and daily reflection. These are just things that you can decide with your family how you're going to use them, if you're going to use them at all, right? Because again, if I'm doing, like I said, I had to change with our schedule. I'm not doing a morning routine. It's more like an afternoon routine, And so you have to be super flexible and patient with yourself on certain things. That's one of them. Here is the homeschool vision and goals template, right? So, parents, you get to say what you want to accomplish, and you allow the child to say what they want to accomplish, what you want to learn, what they want to learn, what you want them to achieve, and what they want to achieve. And so you can go through this with them. And if you have more than one child, just print this page over and over so that everyone has one, and we're clear on working together. I also think that when children are a part of the process, there's more of a buy-in and a commitment from them. So then you can do your SMART goals. This is something extra. This is not a requirement. Let me say that again. This is just something extra. This is not a requirement. However, if you have this, then you already know you're in alignment for whatever you're doing for your school year, and you just have it. And so, for New York, they want to know what you're doing by a quarter and how many minutes was spent. New York is very, very rigorous around this stuff. Other states are not. So if you have this, you're just ahead of the game. That's all. So for this sample, I put one in there: improve early reading and comprehension skills. By the end of the school year, Mikey will be able to read simple sentences, recognize at least 50 sight words, and demonstrate basic comprehension by answering questions about a story or a text read aloud. And so, for quarter one, we're going to focus on phonics and letter sounds, and start with basic sight words, 10 to 15 words, and introduce short read aloud stories. As you see in my example down below, each quarter we're taking on a little bit more. This way we're reaching the end year goal. And so you can do that. You can totally do that. This is what it looks like for if you do it for the middle school student, 5th and 6th grade. Goal by the end of the school year, Mikey will improve the reading comprehension skills to a level of 85% accuracy on grade level assessments, as measured by quarterly reading assessments and comprehension quizzes. You can break this down again too by quarters. And yeah, for the state of New York, that if you follow my blueprint, you will be in the clear. You will be in the clear. Other states, you just will be organized. All right. And so I gave you blank ones. I gave you a sample, an example, so that you can go ahead and fill that out. Then I also have weekly and daily schedule templates. And so, these are only examples. What you do in your house is for you. Just like what I do in my house is for me. And we'll probably be changing our schedule here in my home again for like the third or fourth time this summer because of different things we have going on and different obligations. And so it can be totally mapped around what your family's rhythm is. But I always give you examples in here, which is why the book is so good, right? Then I also put in here how to create a lesson. So for those who be like, I've never taught before, but I just want to be able to teach my child, go to this section. Go to this section. I drop in all of the cues so that you would know. Then I even give you a homeschool lesson template. Here I tell you how to use it. um I was trying to say how to utilize it. And here is a blank one, and then you can just, if you print it, you can circle which quarter you're doing, how you're going to introduce the topic, what's their main activity, how are you going to practice and exercise the content to make sure that they understood it, and then what's your wrap up. But anyway, all of that stuff is there, and daily lesson plans, an assignment list. So say you have to go out of town, or maybe grandma's watching them, or dad is going to have them, whatever. You can literally list out whatever assignments you want them to do, and that person who's with them can look at this list and say, oh, you know what, you're supposed to do this. This is what you're focusing on, so this is what you got to work on until your parents come back, or whatever the situation is. Then the attendance trackers. So I listed all the months here, basically put how many days are required, and the days completed. Again, I told you New York is rigorous. So if it's 20 days required in the month of September, maybe you did 15, maybe you did the whole 20. Just keep track of it. Most states require attendance trackings. Not all. But I think that's getting ready to change, because, like I said, there's been some movers and shakers within different states trying to get access to more what demands on what homeschooling needs to include. And so if you have more than one child, then baby, you got a class. Just list them all. List them all. I just give it to you in different ways. Now, here's the subject trackers for math, ELA, science, and social studies. General guidelines for some vocabulary growth. So I'll leave you some notes in here to look at and follow. And then you can use this multiple times. These are the vocabulary words we're working on this week. Identify the parts of speech, definition, sentence. Did they child master it? The word, yes or no? And that's something you can print and hang up or keep in a binder. Then here is the kindergarten literature analysis tracking sheet. In other words, my version of the reading log. I've never done the regular reading log. Oh, write down the name of the book and the author and keep it going. No, I wanted to be in more depth, which is why Reading for Smiles was a standout program for the little ones when I was in person. What is the story about? Who is the main character? Where does the story take place? What happened in the story? Did you like the story? Then they could tell you why they did or why they didn't. And this is a great way to track books and to make sure that there is a dialogue happening with them around comprehension, because what I've realized is that there are some students who can read, but they don't know what they read. And then since this pandemic stuff, the gap has widened on how many students couldn't read at all. And so having to go back to the basics, with certain children to get them up to speed, these things help. All right. And so I showed you what it was, an example. Then here is also for the older ones. You can put how many pages they read, reading comprehension levels, add notes. Parents, this one is for you. So if you're anything like me, you might have notebooks for days or different books that you come across and say, oh, I can use that, right? So here is a page that you can use specifically to list out your teaching books, what books you want to read aloud. Maybe you go to the library, you've looked up some books online and say, you know what, I want to get these books. You'll read those aloud. what books you want them to read for independent reading, and then the workbooks. So this obviously can be used for different grade levels, but I put it in here so that you can be organized with what is going to be what, especially if you're using this by the month or by the quarter, heck, even by the week, okay? Because my son and I do a lot of stories. We can easily do 6 books in a day. He's small. And so it's good to know that I can track what stories we read and if he was interested in or not. Because I'm also tracking him in the way of, okay, you're interested in this. So let me make sure we have more stories around this topic. Like right now, cars and dinosaurs is his thing. So with that being said, I try to make sure those are things we look at when we're reading. The social studies tracker, again, New York, we have a state mandate with certain things with our social studies. If you don't, kudos to your state. But if you want to track it, this page will still work for you. This page will still work for you. You could also list down whatever checklists and of activities and things of that nature. So maybe you drew a map. Maybe you guys went to a museum. Maybe they had to build a collage or build a flyer or a program or something of that nature. Track it, write down the details. If they completed it, yay or nay. Discuss what went well with it, what challenged them, what would you do differently, or what do you want to teach up in the next quarter or the next weeks to happen based on it. Because maybe what if your child wants to learn more, they want to dive deeper in it, then you now have this as a guide to say, okay, they read all of these things and this is the information they already got, let me look for something new. Because the last thing you want to think, Mom, I know this already. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that. And so it's a good way to keep the information fresh. And so just like with the ELA page, I have one for the social studies. Okay, so if you're doing this by the subject, you can put down all of your different topic units, whatever materials you used, your start date and end date, when you completed it, any notes there, what week you did it, all of the things. When I tell you, like I said, I thought of everything. I really did think of everything because I'm like, what if someone asks you for this? What if someone needs that? You will have it. You will have it. New York does require certain assessments. I don't know about every single state. Again, this is why it's important. But for us here, yeah, we need to know exactly what they did in some of these core content areas. And so this is a good way to, if you use a third-party assessment to track it, if you decide to sign your child in to do the regular state assessments, you can also track that too. You're just making note of all of the things so that you are on point with their learning and you're not missing a beat. So that's the math one and science. All right, progress and grading reports. So this is what a quarterly report for kindergarten home instruction would look like. I filled it in as a sample for you so you can go through it. You basically go through whatever the subject is, the assessment, title and type, description and goals for that focused content. What was their score or grade, notes on performance and progress. After each assessment, you just update the tracker so you have a clear record of how your child is progressing in each subject, and if they're growing, right? And then you can refer back to the planner or this tracker during planning sessions to adjust lesson plans or provide additional support where it was needed. And so more samples. You guys, I load you with samples because I'm like, I don't want anyone to be confused on how to fill this thing out and how to make it work for them. I also have the homeschool grading and progress report template on the subject matter, skill assessment, attendance records, behavioral and personal development, extracurricular activities, any additional notes and observations that you make for strengths or areas of improvement, more goals, and then areas for you to sign off on because those can be used as standalones too. Um, well, when you're dealing with New York, okay. And here you can go if they need improvement, development, proficient, or mastered. And so, yeah, this becomes your own little report card for them. And for the older children, this becomes your homeschool transcript. And I know that there are some websites that allow you to track them as well. And yeah, I would record here and then use theirs so that you can get a nice fancy printout just in case you created a logo for your homeschool and stuff of that nature if you went fancy and stuff. There's a lot of places that allow for that. All right. So for the extracurricular activities, the library book tracking, field trips, and other stuff, and I kind of went through that. So you want to write down any of the library books that you have or ones that you bought, you know. Field trips, this one is my favorite because for my friends in K to 2, I put this little question in there. Where did we go? What did I see? What was my favorite part? What did I learn today? Who did I go with? How did I feel? They can circle one of the emojis and draw a picture of something that they saw or did. And for the older students, they can answer these questions. This way, you're making sure that they gained something from the experience of going out, and that can be added into their learning. So don't think of it as just, oh, I'm doing this because of some state requirement. No, this is actually good for you too, because if you're seeing things that they really enjoyed, you can incorporate it more. I actually did a webinar on that type of stuff too, about a month or so ago. I might need to try to see to release it, or it's on the website. And talking about how to long term plan if you have a child that is, again, maybe into animals, you're taking them to the farm, you're letting them go to pet shops and see how those things are ran, you're letting them speak to veterinarians or watch videos on the lives and habitats of these animals and stuff. You can literally put them on a trajectory for that. And so if when it comes to cross curricular, then now it's okay. So we learned about, a frog and a rabbit. Science is going to be their habitat. Social studies, what countries are they known, most known in? What region of the world and all that other stuff. What are some fascinating things that turns into an informational research paper? Like you can literally take one or two topics and stretch it all the way across, which is why I'm big on hands-on learning projects, project-based learning. I'll probably do another video about that. And so yeah, this information and insight from the field trip can be helpful. All right. Then custom tracker for people who wanted to look at life skills and character development. Oh, they became responsible. How we know it? They clean their room daily without you having to tell them. Um, they do basic problem solving, right? Teamwork. They can work with others. They can work with the other child that's in the house. They work with you, whatever. Whatever you want to put in there, you can. Then the volunteer log, like I said. So I gave you a sample here. You put the date, the volunteer activity, the location, how many hours they work, the supervisor's name, contact information for that person, and then a reflection. Home charts. So this is for my friends who say, you know what, as a part of our day two, we do chores. And so you can give them a reward or an incentive if they do it however many days of the week and so forth. But literally the little boxes are there so that you can check them off as they do it. The meal planner, I'm getting better at this. I'm not great at it, but I'm getting better where I say, okay, if I go to the supermarket, I'm getting all of these ingredients. That means I'm cooking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meals. And that's what we're eating for the week or whatever. You can do that with this as well. Science fun. So I literally give you science topics from grades K to 12. And you can see shadow tracing, magnet hunt, balloon rockets, color mixing with water cycle in a bag. And I mean the list is lengthy, okay? Because it's K to 12. And I do the same thing for social studies, math, ELA, with some activities around books and stuff. And then also with the writing, because writing is so important. And then at the end of the book here, I have a free homeschool starter pack that's on the website. Um, Homeschool with Confidence video series. The literacy packs that are on the website, those come with a video, discussion, questions, fill in the blanks, reading comprehension, multiple choice. It's a whole thing that's in there. It's a whole thing that's in there. Well worth it to keep your little one engaged. And then a VIP homeschool planning power day with me if you want me to help you build out your year. hmm Those have to be scheduled in advance, of course, but yeah. And you can definitely follow us on social media, Reading for Smiles, on all of the things, Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube, obviously. And of course, stay connected to the website. Now, you guys, on Monday, my avatar and I will be going live because we're doing the ELA series. And with the ELA series, I'm breaking down what your child should know, how to observe if they're struggling, and then giving you solutions. And I'm doing that from K to 8. And so each day is different. Each time I stream live, it's a different grade, and there is a password. That password will allow you to get that freebie tied to that video for free for 3 days. And so I'm giving everybody a little window because why? We're all busy and we can forget and we'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. But you got 3 days and you can download it for completely free. And then once the series is over, those who have joined in on any of the things will receive my full list. That's K to 12, no, K to 8, I'm sorry, of what their child needs to know in ELA. All right. Well, I hope that this was informative. And if you want to buy the planner, again, it's linked in the description. You can download it straight from the website, edit it, and do all of the things. And of course, if you have questions, my contact information is there. So it is nothing for you to, reach out and say, hey, I got a question about this. I will respond. On that note, have a lovely evening and see you guys in the next video.